So everybody's got an agenda. We've probably all read the first paragraph or two. I'll read it just so that it's recorded. It says members of and/or participants in the town hall, town office, citizens committee are expected to follow the ground rules. Violation of any rule will be followed by a reminder by the president or vice president. Continued violations by an individual may lead to that person being asked to leave the meeting and/or committee. See the back of the list of rules. Committee goals, as agreed upon at the January 15th meeting. Number one is to research and make recommendations for the town hall for a vote at the annual town meeting. Number two is to conduct a feasibility study on the town hall and address immediate repairs. And number three is explore options for the town office to educate the town. Are we in agreement that's our goals? Has anybody got anything to say, add, subtract? Are we all on the same page that that is our unified goals?
Can I ask clarification?
Mhm.
Is the ultimate goal to save the town hall and not have it be torn down?
That is
Yeah.
the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
I think that's,
I missed a few meetings, so.
yeah. We don't all
Catch up.
necessarily share the same goals, plural, but I think we all share the same goal. We do not want to see the building go away. We
Gotcha.
do not want to see the building torn down, and we do not like to see it in disrepair. And I
Okay.
think we're all in that.
I just wanted to confirm
I
that.
think that's our,
Okay.
I think that's the, Dennis, go ahead.
Our previous committee that met, we were operating on a two-pronged approach. Number one, what do we do about the town hall building? Number two, what do we do about the needs for the town office?
Correct.
And in one way, that's two different items in some people's minds. In other people's minds, it's one item, because the only solution in many people's minds is that the town office belongs back in the town hall, period, end of discussion. Are we saying that we're of that opinion, that the only answer is to put the town office back in the town hall?
I don't think anybody's saying that. What we're saying is the things we agree on. Number one, we all want to see that building standing, and we all do not want to see that building in disrepair like it is. The other things that we're discussing is exactly where we're headed with this committee to try to address. And that may be everybody's on the same page. That may be just like the previous committee where it's a two-pronged approach. You know, there's a school of thought that thinks this, and a school of thought that thinks that. But the whole bottom line, if you go up further, the whole purpose of this committee, we can't make a decision as a committee what to do. Our purpose is to be able to bring facts and numbers to people so that when they are sitting there with a vote in front of them, they have something to refer to. It's hard to sell them on the idea of even saving the building if they don't know how much it's going to cost. Is that kind of an answer to what you were asking?
Okay.
Or even what's wrong with it. Most people don't even know what's wrong with it.
As long as we're not excluding initially any other possibilities other than moving back into the town hall.
Right. I think that it's just right in this group, there are people that differ on what to do with the building once it's saved. At this point, we all agree it needs to be saved. And how we go from here is probably going to be more clear at the end of the evening tonight.
Why wouldn't you want it to be the town hall? This is what I guess I don't understand why you wouldn't want it to be the town hall.
Well, I guess I can't answer that. There's multiple schools of thought, and you'd have to ask somebody that thought that, and I don't know the answer to that.
I think our mission, though, is not to make a decision that that's the solution, but to give all the facts to the people of the town to make a decision about that,
Right.
if that's what they want to have done. Where our group is to find the facts, the figures, and then present the options to the town so they can make an informed decision about what they want to do with the office and the building. And if they intertwine because the town citizens say that's what they want to do, yay. But if they don't, they're doing it based on information that we are gathering so that they can be informed voters. Because, you know, you may be in sync with what I'm thinking, but we're only 2 out of more than 1,000 people in the town.
Okay.
So what our task is to make sure anybody who wants to be informed has all the information they need.
Thank you.
I have a question. Wasn't a lot of it for the town office done in the last meeting? Not the last meeting, but the last committee group.
Yes.
A lot of that stuff done,
That was the theme of the last.
meeting.
Yes,
Okay.
the last group before this
The last
one.
group, yeah.
But I do believe that the reason that the article didn't pass at the town meeting is because more information was wanted. What are the figures? How big a building? Where is it going to be located? Why will it be located there? So, although the first committee gave some direction to that question, it didn't give enough detail for people to feel as though they had what they needed to say yes to the article. So,
I think, this is a personal thought, but I think a lot of that is riding on what it's gonna take to do whatever to this town hall. If people have all that information, then to make the decision whether to go there, whether not, and all of that will come more into play.
and that's what
Of course.
Yeah,
What I'm
okay,
trying
so
to
if
do.
we focus more on the town hall, to get all that information first,
Mhm.
then that will kind of lead us what to do with the town hall, the town office.
It'll give you options.
well, I
It'll
think there.
give a very
Sorry.
clear option of the feasibility of the town hall, put that out there.
Should.
Does that make
Anybody,
sense?
does anybody else have anything to add? It does make sense, by the way.
Yes, okay.
I do think though, at the last meeting, and I could be wrong, but my perception was that we weren't going to drop the idea of investigating town office. Is that right? I mean, that's what I understood from what you
I
were saying,
understand.
Dennis, is that it's not totally off our tasks.
No, but maybe put,
It's some people might
wanna do that.
they might want to focus on that because details are needed.
but if
They
it's a-
weren't provided before, they are
Okay.
needed, and somebody might be able to carry that on.
So we'll probably split, and a piece of the group will go towards town hall, a piece might go towards town office to get that information.
I think
These are
that's
things-
tonight.
Okay.
These are things we're
Gotcha.
gonna discuss tonight.
Yep.
Any other comments on our goals as a committee? Okay. Okay. Oops, I missed it over there.
I think to do that, we're gonna need to get an estimate on these repairs probably sooner than later, right?
We
That's
gotta-
gonna be a figure we're gonna need if people are gonna vote on it.
And I think that to have the dream that we'd have this all ready for our town meeting to vote on, I think there is a lot to do. And I really think we need to have something prepared for that meeting so that we
When is-
secure the future of the building. And again, this is my opinion, we've all got opinions. But I think it would be a pretty lofty goal to think that we was gonna bring all the numbers and everything right to the town meeting and be done with it 6 weeks from now.
When is town meeting? Remind me, please.
End of,
The last Saturday in March, right?
Ish,
yeah.
The 30th, okay.
It could be, it's end of March, beginning of April, they haven't established an exact
Easter's
date.
on the 31st, so.
Okay, so moving on. Item 1 on our agenda is reading of the minutes from the last meeting.
Could I make a, I mean, the minutes were sent to everyone. I'm hoping that you had a chance to read them.
Mhm.
Because if people have read the minutes, then we can dispense with the minutes and just go to additions or corrections.
So has everybody read the minutes from the last meeting?
No, where do you get them?
The
Online.
YouTube link.
Online
And
on
also
the
we-
town hall website, or where, when you say online, where?
I created a YouTube channel. It's called Town Hall, Sangerville Town Hall Committee, and I put the video there, and then under in the description is the minutes, the notes, and also
Sangerville Town
Diane.
Hall meeting?
Committee.
Sorry. I'm catching up here, so I'm gonna have a lot of
And then
questions,
Diane
sorry.
emailed them all Sunday.
If
Okay.
anybody who I don't have, like Kelly, I don't have your email on this list, and Cindy, I don't have yours either.
On this
So
list, yeah.
if you, on the attendance,
Add it, sure.
when you,
Yep.
before you leave, put it on there and I'll add you to the list of people that I
Thank you.
mail things out to.
It doesn't,
I
it
know.
won't apply because
Yeah.
the meetings are on Monday and the library's closed, so I can't access my
Yeah.
email, but it's okay. I'm good.
Okay.
Fine.
Maybe we should go over quickly the minutes then at the meeting, if everybody doesn't have access.
Are they
Make
long?
sense?
And, well, I don't know. It's fine.
Oh.
I'm fine. I think I'm the only one, right? I'm the only one that's missing a meeting.
Mm.
Minutes. I tried to get to the meeting, but I thought it was at the fire station, but it
I've
was at
got
the
some
church.
information from people, so if I have questions, I'll just ask, if that's okay.
Fire down.
Okay, thank you. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
So,
So, from last week's, the minutes of last week's meeting, we're not gonna read them. Does anybody have any additions that they'd like to add to what we discussed last week? No additions, no corrections. Do we all accept the direction the meeting took last week?
I move that we accept the minutes as they were
Yep.
presented. Get a
I
second.
just second
I'll
it.
second that.
Okay. Okay, any more discussion? Okay, all in favor?
All in favor of accepting last week's minutes? All right, now with item 2. Dennis, Diane, and I didn't know, but Priscilla went to the select board's meeting. I guess at this point, we'd like to, as a committee, hear about your adventures at the select board meeting at 4 o'clock.
Didn't have a lot of bells and whistles to it. It was pretty benign in a lot of ways.
But
It was positive.
it was positive from our perspective, I believe.
Yeah, I think so too. Dennis, go ahead.
Okay, two or three items that were involved, that involve us. I told them point blank that if we're gonna operate as a committee and be determining what needs to be the expenses involved in the building and everything, we have to have access to it. That's point number 1. And they agreed that we do, and I've had a little access. I'm going in again Wednesday and look at the roof and look at some other things. So we're moving along that way. They said, we will make available to you any paperwork, engineering reports, anything that we have, and I have a bunch of those. I've got the carpenter engineering report here, which is pages long. Some of the stuff is from 1990 something, and some of that has been done, and some of it, much of it is passé, but it's something to look at anyway. I questioned them why the electricity was turned off there. Because, you know, there's records and things in there that ought to be kept warm and dry, and they said the insurance company told them it had to be off. And that was the answer I got from the select board. And I said, why? Well, they told us it had to be. I said, well, are they insuring it now? No.
What about a security system that might need to be running?
Help me on this, you know.
Yeah.
Go follow through on this. There is a
They did say
liability.
there was liability.
There is liabilities if a slate falls off and hits somebody walking by, okay. But as far as covering the property for fire, for theft, for damage, it's not covered. But the insurance company told them they had to turn the electricity off. I don't understand that.
It's not understandable.
Did you ask the insurance company?
Well, that was the answer I got.
Yep.
They will give us access and cooperate with what we're trying to do. I think it's fair to say that their track is still on having a new town office. When ours, we shouldn't preclude that, but I don't think that's our main emphasis here in this group. But that's their attitude, and I foresee if we work toward doing something with this building and getting them back in there, I foresee a collision course somewhere down the road.
That's where the
Not
fireworks
very
would
far.
come.
Let's see, other things that we discussed, I called it a positive meeting between us and the select board. They are making some attempts to do something about the town records. They want me to go in and make some assessment on the roof that's leaking and see what we can do with that. There was discussion on the select board part, and I don't think I'm talking out of turn because the minutes of the select board are posted online. It says public knowledge. They recognize that it's an issue to maintain condition of records and stuff that's in there, and it's not being met right now. At first, they talked about moving some of it up to the town garage, and my question is the heat still on in that town garage?
I think in the office
The
it
office
is.
In the
only.
office, the office is heated.
The office in one day.
Dare I ask why? Maybe that's,
Yeah,
Well, I know the Newt's using one bay for mechanical work for their plows.
And they need the office heated
okay,
now.
okay. All right, because Warren can't get into his own garage. Anyway, there was discussion of that, and then Jody mentioned that the upstairs apartment over the town office is empty. And she had talked with the owner, some dialogue about possibility of the town renting that upstairs apartment. Number one, to make some room for Patrick. If he has to make a private phone call, he has to go out on the truck on his cell phone, because there is no privacy there. And the fact that it is better off, it behooves us to not have another tenant overhead clomping around and all the noise and everything that's there. And number three, the possibility of some of the town records could be brought there and spaced out and stored and sorted. And if they had some time downstairs, they could run up for a couple of hours and work on sorting some of the records. So that's just discussion. There's nothing, it's not anything that's done yet. It's discussion that they have amongst themselves. Is that? did I
Yeah,
miss anything?
but they did have a very strong indication that they are concerned about the condition of the town records and town artifacts.
Yes.
And Patrick is like holding the banner on that. He's very concerned.
Yeah.
Some of the town records that are leather bound are starting to mildew, and we've got to get them out. We've got to get them in a dry location. So I don't have any doubts that they do want to do something to get all of the valuable things of our history and our records out of that building and into a place to kind of preserve what we have.
Not that being upstairs is the ideal situation up there, but it's a stopgap at best.
Due to no heat, things are mildewing.
And moisture, it's
Yeah.
lack of dehumidification.
Water coming
I
in,
just
no
want to
heat.
say that I live in a house with no heat, have been for many years, and nothing's
It's
mildewing.
a lot of it is in the basement where there is
Leaking.
there is some humidity and lack
the
of
basement.
humidity, lack of
Circulation.
anything. Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, because they've already mildewed, there is
It's
another
growing.
hurdle that they're going to have to jump if they want to really preserve them, because once mildew starts, you've got to do some pretty serious stuff to eradicate that mildew. But
Mhm.
that's a different issue altogether.
Why are they in the basement and not upstairs if
Right.
nobody's in the rest of the building?
Yes, why couldn't we
Yes,
move?
Well,
them?
because that's where they were stored and they never,
And nobody,
And some
Even
things are
thought.
in the vault,
So
too, which is in
According
the
to your
basement.
photos, I didn't see anything in the basement when I saw it.
There's a vault in the basement.
So these items are in a vault in the basement, and there's moisture getting in there? I'm sorry, I find that curious, that's all.
it's,
Don't wanna
and
be
it doesn't
nosy.
have to be wet. It's just air
Humidity.
humidity.
Cold and wet.
Yeah.
Cold and damp.
So the other thing that I don't know, Dennis, is would it be beneficial if we were to turn the power back on, put some dehumidifiers back in there and store the records where they are currently in that building? If we have the intention of saving the building.
That's a question that I had. The answer I got was the insurance company said no. So that we can't have power there. Now,
They're looking at a solution though.
they are working on a stopgap, you know,
Yep.
to get them out of there. So that's
Which is the apartment?
Yes.
right.
Which, I mean, they do want to know what they have, and they want to catalog the artifacts. And so I think that's a good solution because they are accessible from a flight of stairs to be able to do what they need to do.
Did they tell them what the rent would be on their apartment?
No, I think that's a negotiation thing. Still
Because
going on.
what is the rent right now for the one space? Is it $1,000 a month or something?
1,200 is what I've
It's
been told.
$1,200, so what they're paying for rent is more than what they were paying for heat.
No,
correct.
Okay.
no.
Yes.
They were paying
All their
$10,000 in
utilities,
heat.
yes.
This is what we were told.
Oh, okay.
That was all utilities.
Thank you. Okay.
I'm also worried about it getting cold and pipes bursting. We know if the pipes
hope
have
they
been
drained
drained.
water. The water
Hope
shut
they
down.
drained
in
It's winterized.
Everybody's talking out of turn.
No, Lance is code enforcement. He went in, he looked at it, it has been drained, it has been
I got a
taken
little,
care
I
of.
got a little bit of water out of a few pipes. It was just from trickle down. All the circulators have been removed. You know, everything's drained.
They-
My experience with insurance, it's because the building's vacant, that's why they won't insure it, so. Of that level of insurance.
When I
should
was
say.
at the board meeting, my goal was to make sure that they were thinking about putting some kind of a line item within the budget for repair and maintenance to keep the building in at least the shape that it's in now.
No
And
more deterioration.
they said yes, they were going to do it. Patrick is actually looking at contractor numbers for roof work, and they said they were going to put something in to the budget. So when they start budget meetings, they haven't started those yet, but when they start having budget meetings, I'll attend those to make sure that that line item is in there to maintain the building. It's a town building, and they have an obligation of continuing the maintenance on it until some decision is made about it. And they said yes, yes, yes. So I'll go to the budget meetings and make sure that I follow that trail.
The front steps are rotted.
Yeah, well, that's all the whole idea. Yeah.
Can we hear what Priscilla has to say about
Yeah.
the meeting? She was there.
Yep.
It's pretty well covered. I think I kind of talked in a little bit with what I said. Nothing to add. Yeah.
Yeah. They
No.
did. They did sound good about the artifacts, right? About preserving. They had the intention of saving those documents.
Yes.
Yep.
Realizing that they were valuable, I think helped. Knowing that they were valuable, they said yes.
Well, not just valuable monetarily, but also as
Historically.
historic artifacts.
Historic artifacts, yes.
And there were things.
And that they were there.
As an aside, the East Sangerville Grange has volunteered to house the back curtain of the on the stage. That is a valuable piece, monetarily valuable piece, as well as irreplaceable artifact of the town. And until something is determined for the building, East Sangerville Grange has volunteered to store that in our Grange with our two curtains so that they are preserved. So
I get really uncomfortable with that kind of talk. Like, I'm very stressed out right now. I'll share why, because it feels like it's already, like things are being moved out, which I think is the wrong direction to go if we do want to end up keeping it the town hall. So while saying it, we might keep it the town hall, we might not, but meanwhile, everything's being taken away from the town hall, which isn't, I don't know if I can handle this.
It's all,
I
it's
think-
just, yeah, I get it. I get it.
Yeah, you know, like taking the curtain out. Chances are the curtain's not going to go back in is what I start to panic about. You know what I mean? Like, or taking stuff out of the vault and bringing it over here and putting this over there. Chances are it's not going to go back is what I start to get. Do you feel that?
Well,
I feel that.
No, I
What do
don't.
you
Okay,
think, Patty?
okay.
East,
I
East
don't
Sangerville Grange is dedicated to making sure that the curtain's safe and gets back.
I'm concerned that that is one of the places where the selectmen wanted to have the new town office is over to the town garage. And I'm kind of concerned that this is a slippery slope coming from the selectmen, I'm sorry to say. What about the historical building here in Sangerville? Is that heated? And can it be heated and have those things stored there rather than renovate an apartment over
You
the
mean the
town garage?
museum?
Yeah,
It's not heated.
no room. Is
Not
there
heated.
heat in it? Could there be heat in it?
There's a furnace, but I'm not sure how operational it is at this point. We don't meet there in the wintertime because we don't heat it. And as far as a place to, I don't have no idea what the volume of the records are, but we really don't have a lot of room.
I'm just concerned about, I know that this was one of the things that the selectmen did pitch, was to have the town office up there. And I am concerned that once we start moving stuff there, that's going to be first and second step in that direction.
Agreed.
Wouldn't it be, for lack of better word, smart for us to find out, someone get the number to the insurance, find out whether we really can turn the power back on, because one, it's gonna fix the heat problem in the town office, it's gonna leave the records where they are, it's gonna get the records dry, everything that's there is gonna dry, pending his report, Dennis's report on the structural of the roof, whether we can get that fixed, because it costs money to move stuff over to the town office, records, faults, pieces, and then costs more money to rent another building above, and then it costs more money to
Exactly.
move the stuff back, and things are gonna get lost, because I've moved a few times and I've seen things just sometimes
Disappear.
get lost.
Broken.
So if they, and I don't know why they have heat and electric in an office at the town garage, is it needed? If we shut that off, we could afford to heat the town office and you wouldn't have to move everything. It would fix the wet problem, it would fix the records and put a
Agreed.
dehumidifier in there.
I don't think anybody's disagreeing with you.
I mean,
I know.
Paul, you
We're
had a
being told
question?
no by
Oh, I
insurance
just,
company yeah, I'm sorry.
I would just like to know if the insurance company is not insuring the building, what business they have telling anybody that they can't have the electricity on.
Exactly.
There's such a thing as transparency, folks.
We're not giving
Agreed.
Yep.
So I guess it's two things here. First of all, we can be as concerned as we want to be about things, but the board is going to do what they're going to do. We don't have control over that. However, we could have someone that we should identify now, not just someone should see. One of us should see what the insurance company issue is with the electricity. Can we identify someone now who's willing to explore that and but I think what we're doing right now is hovering over stuff we don't have control over when our tasks are to gather information, and we haven't started that yet, and I'm concerned about that. This is our third meeting and we haven't gotten going on the task at hand, which is gathering information and facts. And I think, it's just, we have to get moving.
I have
Yes.
a meeting tomorrow at the town office. Would you like me to ask while I'm there what the name of the insurance company is and get the phone number? Would you like that? I can do that tomorrow.
I
That'd be
think,
great.
Dennis,
Do
you
you
were
have the number?
in that part, right?
I can work on it.
Yeah, it was Maine Municipal Association.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Dennis has a nice in with that,
And you
so.
have their phone number?
Well, I've got some of the information here, I've got some of the reports and stuff, we can find the.
Now, in our previous committee, I asked the question a number of times. Jody and Mike both attended a couple of the meetings. And the question I asked is, when was the insurance dropped? And I never got an answer to that until second to the last meeting. And Jody answered the question to me, well, the insurance wasn't dropped, we were just moving, being proactive, was the words that she used. I think I'd like to know if the insurance actually is dropped. That's, I think there's some gray area there.
If we have insurance, then they would have the right to tell them that they can't have the power on. But if we don't have insurance, they can't tell us anything.
My
Right.
understanding, and tell me if I'm wrong, because you were here, was at the meeting, they said that they wouldn't insure for liability insurance, if we had the electric on. Is that what you heard?
I did not
It
hear
was the
that.
liability insurance, they only had liability insurance on, and the insurance company wouldn't insure if the electric was on.
Because it's a
I
vacant
guess I
building.
didn't gather
Because
that
it's what?
part of it.
Because it's a vacant building,
Because
that's
it's
how
a vacant
that's
building.
why.
Right.
Right.
But we're guessing now.
Yeah.
I think,
He's
let
gonna
Dennis,
answer
It's been
that.
nobody
let
else.
So
Dennis
who
find
are we
out.
gonna assign to go? Dennis, you're halfway through the, are you willing to take the task of pinning down Patrick or whoever?
Yeah, I'll see what I can find out.
They
Okay,
must be
Thank
insured to
you.
be in that building
Okay.
that they're in now, right?
think
They
we
must
can
have
move to item
insurance there.
3 for homework.
So maybe they
because
transferred it over?
We're talking about insurance, we're talking about
Get
historical
on it.
management, we're talking about building needs, so let's
Mm-hmm.
focus on building needs and then move to insurance.
I'll help you.
So you're thinking,
I've got something for that, that would help with that. So on item 3, we all had a task web that we brought home with us with the idea that you were going to create some ideas on what each topic could be doing. And so what I have tonight, and if you didn't do your homework or your dog ate it,
teacher for 30 years,
43,
43 years.
then you can kind of fake it on this activity. I have a paper with each one of the topics on it, like building needs and insurance and warrant articles and all of that, with the idea that if you have any suggestions of a path that could be taken in that topic, jot it down when the paper comes to you. And then if you're interested in being a part of the investigation of that topic, like I've got building needs down here. And I had thrown some things here like obtain copies of the engineering reports, list the needs, investigate the cost for each one, identify hired work and volunteer work, look at Charleston, Mountain View as maybe a volunteer possibility, look at citizens as possibility. If you have any ideas about building needs that aren't a repetition of what's already there, add them to the list. If you're interested in pursuing this track, put your name at the bottom. Don't put your name at the bottom of all of them. But try and find something. There's one on building needs, one on insurance, one on funding options, one on the process to obtain nonprofit status, one on attracting steady renters, one on warrant articles, one on descriptive vision for a fully operational hall. And then I added a couple others because I didn't know if people were interested. Town office design and then town office locations. So we're looking at things that people could be pursuing independently that can come back to this meeting with information.
Isn't there 3 or 4 of those that we can't do until we have his report, like the first 3 or 4 that you mentioned?
It's not that we're going to do, it's just, this is what a group would do if they were doing building needs stuff. Here's some of the ideas for building needs: getting the engineering report, making a breakdown price list.
But until we know what his list is, we're really not gonna have a direction of what to do.
But that's what I'm saying, is that's one of the things that we're not going to right now list all the needs. But somebody, and Dennis has started that, somebody needs to get the engineering reports.
What
And then
information?
once those are done, somebody needs to start breaking down the list into itemized things. So it's just suggestions for whoever takes this over for building needs as to paths that they can follow. Not, okay? So, yes.
The process to obtain the 501c, who would be the holder of that?
Well,
The
that's the
town?
whole thing, that's the whole
The
thing,
town
is
can,
it
I
would
mean-
be probably a citizens group, but
Right,
this
okay.
is all exploration
Gotcha.
stuff. Does everyone understand what they need to do in this paper when it comes to you? Okay, all right, so I've already thrown mine down on here, and it could be something that do you all have something to write with? Did you bring your pencils the way it was suggested?
I'll rent this one.
Yes.
That first drawer in the Highland there should have some, probably.
At the end, like
Or there's a bunch right by the phone, Sue, too.
Okay,
put something
so,
out that we can email.
Jeff, why don't you and Melissa start building needs? Hang on to this paper that I'm giving to you. Hang on to this. You'll see that I've already added mine on here. Add what you can. I'll give you like 2 or 3 minutes to add your ideas to it, and then I'm going to ask you to shift the paper. Now, if you'd been in my classroom, I would be telling you to move to the next paper, but everybody seems kind of cozy, so I'm not going to tell people to get up and move. So, Dennis and Jerry, why don't you start with that one? And
I wasn't at the meeting, were you?
if you guys
Well,
find
no,
a
that's just
breakdown
their,
on attracting steady
their,
renters.
that's their
I think
suggestion,
there should
is to
be
use the language.
electrical,
What's
and
your
then
suggestion?
for electrical.
That's their
Let's start.
answer. What's your answer to this?
Foundation.
Descriptive vision of fully operating hall.
I have no idea what
What kind of questions is that?
If you want to help with that, that's what you want. And if you've got, well,
So, what are your
so
thoughts?
it would be a, you know, a physically viable and
We know that it needs electric.
being used, you know, frequently. That'd be, run it real quick. Do people need, it looks like everybody's got a writing utensil.
Looking also at volunteer work versus hired work, so.
Yeah. Or something growing on the roof of your barn.
Okay, let's focus on the
that
papers,
I'm
please.
guessing that's a slate roof, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have 4 dogs and they
Nails
keep
rust
climbing.
off and it's like,
They fall, yeah.
Not just one.
Dennis is that.
courtyard in Somerset County Jail.
We're thinking of throwing
The roof is slate.
No, on the roof.
Deputy, we couldn't let the inmates go.
There's a foundation, and that one I don't think can do that. That one has to be
No, I was just gonna say, I'll help with that. I have experience if you want to put my name there.
I don't know.
Cindy pulled it.
This one, I talked to one of the electricians in Sangerville who seemed interested in looking at it and
I'm having lunch with a girl Friday
making
and she
it
writes
attractive
grants.
to users to do it.
I will talk to her.
You're
So
gonna,
that's
we're
what
gonna
we're
pass
gonna do.
these around, right?
I
Yes,
think
yeah.
all
Okay,
these
don't
things
pass them
we have
around
local
yet.
contractors in town that pay taxes to this town.
No, because that way everything is going to make sure it's going to get in everybody.
We all just,
Getting,
Okay, so if you have your paper,
getting, at least getting an idea.
go to the right with it.
without laying out
Pass it
money.
to the
So we have
right.
a budget to work
To your right. Okay, so you're passing your papers to the right.
To the right.
Okay, you're
Oh.
Are you done?
there.
Yeah, sure.
There's that one.
Building
Take
needs,
that one, put it over
Just
here
pick out
now.
one.
Brainstorm ideas that need to be done for insurance.
I just,
Right away, girlfriend, do it.
timelines and order
Is that how many signatures?
priorities.
Yes.
Oh, is that another good one?
That is good.
There, okay.
He's probably good at writing a warrant.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, yeah.
I never want to write another one. I wrote 5 zillion that year. Just in 1 year, I was the budget finance manager for the school district. The 3 years that it took forever to pass a budget.
Yeah, I mean, if they reference the report.
We need to write a warrant? Oh, because of what we present.
Out,
That makes
like,
sense.
we need to know immediately the bare minimum,
Right.
what would let us turn the lights
Right, is
back
that
on.
the big wish list, or is that what we really need to do? We need to just.
You could probably put my name. Is that,
So
you,
that
on
we
that one
can
yours
go into
again?
the building and-
I should be
You
sitting by
can't
Patty.
do any volunteer work if you can't go in the building.
This is,
And they listed like obstruction to the exit. like,
create
okay,
an
let's do that
incubator
one.
for businesses
Oh, that's a good
You
idea.
didn't say your name,
Right.
girlfriend.
and
I
contact.
don't want to be on that
So-
committee because
Only if
I
you want to be on that
I
committee.
don't have knowledge to
Identify-
help with that. Just ask questions.
Identify
I put what I,
the immediate things we need to do. Immediate volunteers.
All right, switch your paper one to the right.
oh goodness.
I'd like to see an LED.
Get rid of this smoker's cough. I'm not a smoker, but I
Still be done puppy.
something. I just, the last 2 days, I just,
So you could actually get high quality stuff, but a little bit damaged.
it's allergies, but I can't figure out why, what.
Okay, that
I
last.
think I need to go to a white sand.
I'd like to just be able to buy candles and just
Just cook it
The
out.
grant one, did that come over here?
No, that's funding options.
It's not bad.
Oh, funding,
Really the
okay,
best
so,
place to go.
That one's,
Advertising,
that's, is that for funding?
for funding, advertising,
Oh,
for
sure.
donations, advertising for donations. What else do we?
what else they always say?
So fundraising, advertising, donations, and maybe some place if anybody
This
wants
is a
private
terrible idea, me
donations.
doing writing, because
Give
everybody's
private
got one.
donations.
I can read it. He has everything.
What was the
there.
last one?
And
Dennis,
then,
you hold it out for us.
Advertising for donations and where,
you
like,
might have to
where
check
to
your
send
shoes to
it,
make
like,
sure you're getting the same.
Okay, that's a
private
detail.
donations
That's
too,
a,
like
that's
some
a,
anonymous
And
donations.
the left and the right.
Yeah, right. I bought a blazer there that I didn't even want. You do that ever?
I get home, it's got the shoulder pads from the 1980s.
What about the $440,000?
Those are back in style, but I hate those things, so I think
Some of the towns say that they.
no, if you,
So they have that money, they can
if you
spend it.
don't have anything to add
Put that
on that,
in, what about?
if you want to be a part of this, then you write down the bottom.
I know there was a lot of stuff, and you did this stuff.
how did that happen?
In reserve, we need to refer the amount of money they were talking about at our special town meeting. which is approximately-
Do you know Beth at the Redemption Center? Beth, I don't know her last
In
name.
Dover?
Here.
Wednesday, Dennis?
Beth Rattle?
Oh, I know who you mean, yes, yeah.
Well, we started a garden committee.
Oh, you
And
did?
we have a plaque.
Okay, you done? Would you switch to
We
the
have a
right
blast.
again?
So it's the Sangerville,
Garden club.
Where's it gonna be?
Oh, that's my fault.
And I
But it's
conversed
fun.
with my husband down there.
And I have it in on the hundreds of geraniums.
At the moment,
You can also collect everyone's homework too. Grab those thoughts and put them all. Insurance.
Paul.
This is all, yeah. This is all,
He
yeah.
wants to take a picture of it.
We're gonna share the sentence. Sorry to put pressure on you, but.
It's really.
I don't wanna put my name on if I gotta do something else.
It's kind of like the Redneck Yacht Club. You know,
No, you need,
Yeah, what's
there's
that
people interested. I didn't even
They
have a
have
name on
these,
any
they
of
have
those.
these
I was
$20 and
interested.
then they
I'm not
bungee
mixing
cord
them
up.
up, but
Gas
these aren't.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yes, Jolly. For me, I gotta
I
keep
mean,
track of your name.
the small pieces I'm interested in doing, I should put in, and some of them I didn't even see the bottom and pay attention.
No,
Okay.
Listen to what I'm doing next year. You're ready for this? I spent a fortune on
They'll all
Christmas
come
wreaths
back.
this year. I'm gonna put them around the town. So I've got them all in my basement, and I'm taking the pine cones off and the
I think you
poles.
and Jeff
Yeah.
are more.
Next
Under that
year,
for a
ready?
while.
I'm gonna spray paint them with gold paint.
It's a good idea.
They'll be beautiful, tacky, but then I'm gonna put the pine cones back on and the ribbon. Get 2 years for the price of one. And frugal as frugal gets.
This, I agree with.
Wait a minute, she didn't say pass it.
Oh, sorry. Well, I thought we were a group.
Let you add your
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to poke you.
That's okay. All right.
Add your 2 cents. I do have a few ideas.
Make with the realm of war. Fun.
I'm gonna stay off that, because I don't think that's the route I wanna go.
We have a resident who can write grants. Wendy.
It would still have to be voted on.
He did talk to
If-
Kim.
if- I almost feel like there needs to
Cam
be
said he'd be willing
I can go
to do
collect
that.
signatures.
Two options. One for the nonprofit to take over, one for municipal.
Sure, we should go for town, go through anyway.
What's the population
This
these
is
days?
process too.
In
Do we
Sangerville.
know?
It's all online, like I looked at it all.
1200?
There's
That's on the 4th of July.
on
Don't do it as a municipal building.
It's,
and we-
it's so sad driving down
He could have one of his.
I know when
the avenue
we
now.
first
and-
moved to Sangerville, it was a pretty little town.
That,
Yeah,
that
I
sounds
had-
like
It's amazing.
There's been pictures get flashing around of, in the early 1900s when all the elm trees were still on both sides of the
Yeah.
boulevard, or I call it a boulevard, the
And the
street.
houses were pressed.
Holy gosh, and just
What happened?
Pops, I remember Pops and Ines talking about, there used to be a street light at the Four Corners up here. Yeah, Sangerville was a big boom and there were 4 mills right on Main Street
This
here.
one was
It
first.
was a big busy
Then
town.
I won't sign any of them until.
later.
Grocery stores, beauty parlor.
It's just they've got to.
Pool hall.
I understand, I was trying to decide which one I want.
Yeah, but Guilford's the same way. They used
Oh,
to
yeah.
have a bakery and a jewelry store and a drugstore and a couple.
A jewelry store, I didn't know that, I'd heard about that, okay. Yeah.
That is what we need to decide. because
Yeah,
it
yeah.
totally dictates
But-
And a nice bakery.
Back in the early 1900s, though, Sangerville was the big town.
The night you told me.
Yeah.
I met
And
him.
your
Pups
building
talked
is
about,
controlled by
I loved
people.
listening to him talk about those days.
Full by sheets, tons of the-
When he would talk about when they built the bridge,
Yeah.
and,
What, that's bad, good, I don't
yeah.
know.
It's coming, I think it's coming.
Okay, move it on. Yeah.
Ooh, this is a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we know that the towns are gonna put the warrant articles, so we need to understand what the town is putting on the warrant,
I know we got some for my son.
and then what we want on the warrant.
I think the thing we gotta do is determine, we gotta determine the time frame that it needs to be submitted.
That needs to be on every one of these, with a time schedule.
Jerry, you could be a doctor. Can't read writing.
$50 a sheet now.
Buy it.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
I mean, this was
Yeah, things all have to
every
be
single
run
one,
parallel
the
to each other
same,
with the
the
building
same thing.
being the person that fix things and just.
And I would,
This is
need
not
to
my
show up.
If there's a,
I'm with you
we
there.
have a,
Bottle of wine later when I get home.
right there to collect, as long as they're from Centerville.
What is that?
Have that already done, and then, so the first, I think, is probably getting the signature should be the first priority.
Sign her right up there. She got a checkbook out and signed her right up.
She asked me to come up where we were going, we had.
Aside from going out in the cold.
I'm gonna need it for Friday.
Did you hear what they wanna do to that little cape across the street from my house? Did you hear about this? It was in the newspaper.
Well, I don't.
Yeah,
It's up for bid, because they're gonna recycle.
Oh, they want it torn down though.
Yeah, I mean, I was all excited.
Is that the cape right on the corner? Why do they, but they
remember.
value it at
They're gonna tee up and swing
$34,000?
again.
But you have to tear it down. Does that make
But like
sense?
they were really loose numbers
Thank
last
you.
time, so are they gonna keep the loose numbers?
And it's the most
Or is it our job
artistic,
to
like
find
it's,
out what the real numbers
it's
are
so
gonna be?
beautiful in my eyes, you know, you know this.
You know what Mark Twain said about
I
that?
think anybody that
What did he
attended the
say?
last meeting had a pretty good vibe.
All that common.
They're on both.
Feel that.
Same thing. We just get
Pass, pass.
Yes, yeah.
Green light.
Can you pass things on if you haven't yet?
Yes.
That's not, I don't think we're ready for that
I
yet,
don't either.
so I think when we collect all these, then
No.
I think this would be low priority. Because
It
there's
reminds
gonna
me of
be,
Charlie Bucket.
each
It's
one
called
is
the
gonna
Charlie
have a
Bucket
dependency on another.
Makes me
I think the
Charlie
immediate
Bucket from
issue
Charlie and the
is
Chocolate
first
Factory.
before we could
When
have
he-
Where he
someone
lived
else
with
watched
Grandma
that.
Georgie
there,
and
when
Grandpa
they-
Joe, and he was really poor, and they lived in a little house, and it looked so like Charlie Bucket.
I don't know, is that how you feel?
Dan Wall lived in that house last. That
Would you like with it?
Yeah. Mark Twain.
If that were down in Cape Cod, do you know that would be a $500,000 house and someone would fix it up?
So would all of our homes.
Mr. Davis, do you think you got this covered, or should I put my name down to assist?
Your name right on this.
The fact that we're in Maine is a big deal right now, if you're from New York.
Oh, yeah, I
It's a
could have asked
big
Jeff
deal.
too. Sorry, I didn't, my hand was on top of your name, I didn't. Usually you can go right online and copy and paste
So that just
from the
means
state
that
regulation.
this would be on
requirements.
pause
So good
until
luck with
we
that.
do
Yeah.
this,
We need to have some of the other things in line first.
right. So
I agree.
after we get everything, then we look at it as a group and like, okay.
Are we
What
all
do we
done
work
with
on
this?
was
first?
asked
What
to come
first three
soon
need to be
by
done first?
Cynthia Hall and Gail
Okay,
Stubbs.
maybe this on here.
That's a very hard.
You're still not up yet.
Trying to get you to sign that.
We're slow. Do you want to pick one of these three immediate first to help out with, and then
They moved that storm off a day, didn't they?
We're not gonna get anything, just a dusting.
Is it? That's what I thought, they changed it.
It's gonna drop in New York, you know,
Oh, really? Going south again?
Pennsylvania.
It's all right.
Your
with-
house, it's all coming to your
Well,
house.
originally, it's funny how this can change. Well, actually, I am 20 miles south, so yeah, it's a different, I need to, no, I know. No, but it was originally supposed to be Wednesday, and now it's pushed to Thursday, and it's only 45%, so it just keeps changing. Whoa, I like these temperatures though,
Yes.
30s.
Yeah, it's supposed to come up to 30s. and
Two other issues, two other questions.
Okay, are
Can
we
we
done
tone
with
down for
this?
just a second? Go ahead, Dennis.
Two questions. If I'm gonna pursue the insurance, one of the issues is volunteer labor.
Mm,
And the select board has been resistant
I agree.
to volunteers doing things because of liability and all that sort of stuff. If we're gonna talk with about insurance, do we need to ask the possibility of getting some type of insurance that would, if we wanted to go in with the volunteers on a weekend and do a project or fix some of the anomalies that are on the list, could we do so?
Right.
That-
On this list, everybody had some pretty good ideas and identify from our existing company what we need to get liability insurance for contractors / volunteers.
Right.
And I think that's really important. And we can't, our hands are tied until we can physically go in the building and do
Right,
things.
right.
Yeah, is that something Cam could also look at for?
I've talked to Cam in depth about this, and he said it all depends on how they terminated the insurance as to how easy it is to pick it back up by another company. When an insurance vacates and drops a building and it's completely uninsured, it's difficult. If we have any type of liability insurance on it at all, it's easier. And I didn't know the status, so I couldn't carry that conversation on any further with Cam. And he was willing to come in and talk to us about it.
One other issue, it's been bounced around several times that building is on the National Historical Register or whatever.
It is on register.
It is.
I looked it up.
You looked it up.
I
It
have
is.
it
It
right
is.
for you right here.
Well, good
What are
for
the
you.
rules
Thank
for
you.
that?
It is on the historical register.
We looked for it and couldn't find it.
It is on there. That, the
That
building
opens it up
across
for a lot
the
of grant
street
money.
from it, and the church
I
are
wrote a
the
letter
only
to
three
President
historical
Biden.
sites.
Which,
What?
the building
What?
across the street? Which
Elaine
one?
Edwards
Town
House.
office, across from the town office, and this church are all the historical sites in Sangerville.
The one that they're painting
This-
brown, I
this-
believe.
this-
Queen Anne.
How do I find that site?
You go on domain.gov.
It's a very big deal, and don't let anybody tell you it's not.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's main.gov.
Yeah, they don't just do it for anything.
Historical
No, you just can't
landmarks.
slam a steel roof on it, though. I mean, it's
Correct.
gotta-
Register.
But that's okay. We don't.
And
No.
under the town of Sangerville, like I said, this, the town office, town hall, and the building, the car, is that the car place across the street?
Car house, yes,
Yes.
because
So-
that was owned by one of
Those are
the,
the only ones.
We
listed.
probably have some
Industrial
knowledge of all of
leaders in
that,
My
Sangerville.
house is
repair
the car homestead.
requirements
Elaine
from,
Edwards,
that we
when
could
she
share,
lived in that
right?
house,
Of
got the status for her house and for the town hall.
the process, I
It is
mean.
And
on the
then,
registry.
Susan, you got the status for this.
Is that Moulton's house?
In September,
So where's this?
so
one?
this church was added to the National Historic.
Okay, too much crosstalk.
Say it again.
I'm trying to get.
I am too.
As a historic downtown, we do have 3 buildings that are recognized. And we have not yet applied for our certificate. So sometime since we were put on the National Historic Register last September, sometime this, when it best suits, I would like to, have that certificate and do a little bit of an event.
Newspaper.
Yes, get some coverage, have some musicians celebrate a little bit, and bring into it the local character of these two. I call them sister buildings
Yes.
because they're
Well,
they're designed by the same architect, the same building committee. They were built 5 years apart.
right, so they're
Mary
gonna
and
have,
Martha are right
well,
next
that's, I guess that's what I was trying to ask you. We have a lot of that information from when we restored the bell tower as far as what we could and couldn't do and had to do. And so some of that information, I'm sure we'll share. We're not, keeping it secret or anything. So, just save a few steps in your investigation of information. Because there were, I don't remember specifics right tonight, but there were things we had to do. And then there were some that were optional.
That's
So,
okay.
yeah.
That's okay.
And then things we couldn't change. You
Right.
could restore.
But as a communications piece, Diane,
Yeah.
that's an event that I'm definitely thinking about putting
Maybe
together
if
for
they
this
appointed
building,
a chair or.
and it would be
Oh my gosh!
Sweet.
When the
Lay
news
groundwork.
when the news came out here and did that coverage, money started pouring in for a little while.
There's a little church in Hatton that got one Bangor Daily News article. They've fundraised over $100,000 just because it went viral.
Mm-hmm.
Aroostook County
She was
folks.
at the
I mean, these 2 buildings.
It was federal money.
Have you noticed that the stained glass and all the buildings in Sangerville, they're all made by the same person? The porches with the palm trees, like it's all connected.
Poverty is great.
Broken.
Jeff, I have a question.
Yeah.
One of the papers was, that a few of us signed, was what is your vision for that town hall? And I only saw 2 or 3 comments out of 15 people. I don't know if somebody would like a chance to review that or not, write your position down.
Last meeting, we talked about the vision.
We did do a vision last meeting, and I don't think we really nailed it right down concrete. We kind of did a little show of hands as to who thought what, just to have a feeling for what directions we were going. Nobody knew where anybody was at.
By town meeting time, whenever that may be, we have to have at least 2 things in hand. Number one, we have to have some tangible figures as to what it would cost to make that building usable.
That's correct.
And And number two, we have to have some tangible use for it, other than saying, well, if it were all fixed up, then somebody would come along and do something with it. To say, to speculate that we'll, build it and they will come. Somebody will come out of the woodwork and utilize it. We can't spend whatever it's gonna cost to put that building back into shape if nobody's gonna use it.
Correct.
And we can't sell that to the town if we don't have some valid uses for it.
Backup uses, you mean? I don't mean to be rude. So I'm thinking town hall, but you're saying we can't present it until we know if it's not the town hall, then it could be this, that, and the other? Is that what you're saying?
No, there's 7,500 square feet of built space in that building. We're using 1,500 feet of it.
Okay.
To spend X number of dollars to put that old building back into function and just use one corner of it is not a good use of anybody's funds. Somehow, the library is gone from it. That anchored the other side of the building for years. But the library is gone. We're not gonna bring it back. I haven't been to a library in 25 years, and probably the rest of you haven't either.
You can't say
I
that.
go all the time.
Well,
I go all the time.
The internet's full of that.
right, internet, we all do it by internet. We
Download.
don't have any use for 2/3 of that building.
You feel so what I'm hearing is everybody feels that we need to clearly define the uses for that building as part of our study with this committee.
And have something tangible in hand to take to the town
To
meeting.
sell.
And to say, oh, we can't say, well, we want to spend $400,000 to put that building back in shape for just that one corner that we're going to use, and the rest of it's going to sit there. It doesn't fly, I don't think.
I've had a lot of input from a lot of people, and a lot of what I've heard too is renovating the library space back into town office, town meeting space.
I've heard that.
And I haven't been in to assess the space to see if it's even big enough to do that.
It's huge.
Yeah, it's been, the people that come into the shop, you ask her, I get 2 or 3 hours a day of people coming in, and that seems to be the consensus that people have been bringing to me is renovating just the first floor
Yeah.
and using it for our municipal activity, and then deciding what to do with the second floor later on.
There are compound issues on a lot of things. I talked to Jerry at length today. The town office side of it is fairly well insulated, except for the windows. They're old, original windows. There are some storm windows that couldn't go on there, but haven't for years. The library side did not get gutted and insulated when that was done. Is that correct?
The exterior wall, the ceiling cap was because the whole corridor was open.
Okay.
And we went, and because the town office was new,
Yeah.
that's all capped as well.
But the exterior walls on that south side are not done.
Correct.
And that is still old plaster.
Right.
The other parts are sheetrock, which is not a big issue to us. We can modify that if we have to anywhere. As soon as you get into that horsehair plaster, then you're opening another can of worms that
Right.
involves hazardous waste and things. The other thing that we haven't addressed is the lead paint boondoggle. And I researched that somewhat. I was, until a few years ago, certified for lead paint renovations. Mine is expired, and when I moved over here, I threw all that stuff in the trash can. 'Cause I didn't ever want to deal with it again.
I believe you.
But it said
I was
possible.
just gonna say, Chris Rao is completely certified for that.
But
Right, not down.
Oops, sorry.
It's okay.
the standard basically has to do with whether you have children in there. If you have a building that has children in it more than 3 hours a day, then it's a higher standard of lead than normal people. But as soon as you start as soon as you start tearing anything apart, then you've opened Pandora's box.
Right.
We have to be careful of that.
We need to confirm there's lead too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Test it.
So,
I spent a lot of time in that library with my kid, and it was always toasty warm in that
Yeah.
library. Is it because the heat was, we're using a lot of heat? Is that, are you, for the renovations?
And the woodwork is wood, not painted, if I remember correctly. All that woodwork was replaced during the last renovation. It's
So,
not
I
painted.
don't know, and also my brother did lead abatement, and for an apartment with a kid
Yeah.
in it. And you don't have to tear it all off. You can cover it. There's certain ways to cover it that are going to take care of the lead. It can't be exposed. It can't be chipping, it can't be, you can't, as long as the plaster is against the wall, it's not hanging down. As long as you don't have to get in and insulate.
but if we're gonna insulate that south wall, you're gonna tear that plaster out.
Blow in from
We
the
need to.
outside. Blow it in from the outside.
Blown insulation, that's
From
another
the
option.
outside of the building.
It would, I don't know, you would have to put little holes in the building to get that in, but that's an option. If it needs,
If it needs it.
If it needs it.
So this all falls under the category of building needs, I think. And a few of us have signed up to start investigating. And I think at this point in the meeting, we need to move on to getting some of these tasks done. We've talked about it. We've passed it around. People have signed up for what they're interested in. And now it's time for action. Yes.
One of my accounting gigs was for Penquist Cap. Their home office is in Bangor, but the weatherization and housing department can come and run all those lead tests and weatherization tests, and there probably would be a fee because it's not a low-income family, although
We're a
but
low-income town.
but I mean the fee that the cap agency charges for those is very reasonable. It used to be anyway, and they would do the whole building and tell us in regard to all of that lead abatement and everything. So it's just a matter of calling them down there. Jennifer Josie, I probably got her phone number still right here.
We may ask you to do that.
Right. Sounds like you're volunteering to me.
I'm leaving for a month.
Yes.
That's why I didn't write my name down on too many. I'm heading out of town.
This is so exciting.
Where you going?
And on the insurance report,
Oregon to visit
it was
my
only
sister.
mentioning chip paint.
She has
Yeah.
Right.
2 grandkids. Sophie's
Like it
8. I've never
possibly,
met her in
like,
person. So because of COVID and everything. So
I need it.
yep, I'm
So
going
when's
out
the next
with
thing?
a
Too
4-year-old
many
brother.
people talking.
Bring a basket of Maine made.
I'm going
Right?
tomorrow. I'm going to get
All
some
right.
maple. I
All right,
can't
guys,
make
let's
leverage.
focus on getting ready to go home here. We need to finish up a few things, and then we can go have supper.
We've had some.
Good idea.
All right. So everybody has put their ideas on the handout, and they've put their names on the one they have interest in. How do we go about assigning these tasks and moving forward? Scheduling time to get in the town office for Dennis and whoever's gonna go with Dennis. How do we put these groups together?
Well, I think we need to, who's ever signed up for a topic, those people need to get together
Right.
and start doing some work maybe outside of this meeting.
Right.
That's the whole problem, is the next step is outside of this meeting. What can you do to bring back to the next meeting?
Yeah.
And I think if we were to get these pulled together so that people knew who they were working with and get contact information for each group, then you can have the list that's at the top of it, plus the contact information. People can make decisions on how and when they're going to get together and how they're going to get started on that topic.
Do we want to cover that here right now, or do we want to just do it after the meeting? If you've signed up for something, you need to,
I forget what I signed up for.
There's the,
yeah.
Right here.
Hate it when that
I
happens.
did. I think I signed up for
And maybe we should just
Hand that
get,
out to the first person's name on each sheet.
get the ball rolling with putting together a group on some of these. I think the building needs, Dennis was interested in moving forward, getting inside the building. I think Jerry
That's
was
gonna-
interested in,
That's gonna be their thing to do.
I am
Yep.
interested in that.
I too am interested in it.
Gonna write your name on it then.
Yeah, I didn't put my name on the first 3 or 4 because I'm bad.
We're your two worst students, Diane.
I didn't put my name on anything yet. I'll put my name on it later.
Which one?
I don't know yet.
Okay, all right, so,
So,
Jerry.
so on the building needs, we need to schedule with Patrick, I'm going to guess, to make the next move. Who wants to volunteer to talk to Patrick, set a time, and
Wait.
coordinate it with everybody?
time.
Okay.
That's something you should do with
Mhm.
Kelly, Dennis, Jerry.
Okay.
You should do that as a team.
Put me on that one too.
Okay, Lance.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So
those people need to get together and you
Okay.
start doing that. People who are on the warrant article, I don't know, I think Paul, you're on that committee. There's probably a lot we can pick your brain on because you have some information and experience in
I
that.
think we can find it.
Okay, but
Yeah.
we need to maybe, meet to talk
The
about,
moderator's manual has a lot of the laws in it.
Mhm.
okay, so as a team, we can get together. Let me see, the vision, Jerry and Sue and Priscilla and Sandy and Kelly, you are all part of that, so we can get you together somehow, you guys.
Do you
get
wanna make
together.
copies of those
Well,
and then
that's-
give one out
That's what I
to,
was
like, pick a
thinking.
head person for each group?
That's a good idea.
I'm just afraid if we don't pull it together and decide who's doing what, that it's not gonna get done this week. And I'd like to see it, I'd like to see us get moving.
Give that sheet to the first person's name on it.
Pick a time and a day. Can you?
So building
How do you-
needs, I'm gonna put Dennis as the primary on
Contact
that one.
person.
Yeah,
Is that
yeah.
what you're thinking? You're
Warrant
gonna contact
articles
Paul Davis, the
Paul
contact
Davis.
person. Yeah.
and descriptive,
I'll send you a letter.
Probably
But just to use the
Christian
copy.
But you have a telephone.
there.
No, I don't.
And funding options is Pat.
For non-payment.
Nonprofit status. Melissa, Patty, let's put Patty, and that. And then we've got 2 people who aren't Sangerville residents who are interested in that.
Oh, how about it, what
I'll
time? I
put
can-
Sue as that for now. And Dennis is on for insurance. Okay.
Yep.
And then what I can do is, based on these lists, I will send a contact information
Of everybody in the group.
of everyone in that group.
You can stick me on the attract new.
Our track, okay.
Yeah, I think it's good to have a list, but it's, again, it's not gonna be something we're gonna go out and actively look for renters, you know.
So this will be a good way to do this, and you will group this up and just send it in an email to each person who's the contact person for each group.
Yep.
I think she might group it up and just do an email to the people in that group.
And
Who's the
then,
contact person?
and then this is something I can take a picture of and send to. Okay, all right.
Yeah, I think that works.
Cindy, I think we're all set.
Can we,
I don't think so.
I think we're gonna do it.
Cindy,
she got it working.
okay, so let's talk to these people.
Also, for each one of the group leads, if they can email me or you with updates to what they found, and I can keep things updated on.
Okay, so update. All right, so let's get everybody together.
Like send updates by Sunday. Or
You wanna give him his numbers?
About
Saturday.
You've got the contact.
And that way we can get them all organized before Monday.
Okay,
Okay, so I think what we'll do is pull this together.
let's talk to everybody.
Okay,
I'll let you have your chair back. Thank you.
let's focus for a minute, people. Okay, what we're gonna do we've passed these sheets around with tasks and people interested in pursuing this task. What Diana's gonna do is, she's kind of picked a lead for
Just
each.
arbitrarily, just,
Picked a lead for each group as a contact person, and she will send it in an email to that contact person and all the people that are interested. It will be grouped together, and then you can pursue it together. Just gonna have to schedule it amongst the group.
Has everybody rendered their phone numbers?
Yep.
I have the phone.
She has a complete
Oh, I
list.
do, except for somebody.
I'm right on the town website.
You can email the contact list.
Everyone is okay with sharing contact information with one another? Okay, well, I just,
No,
I don't wanna step on
I am, I'm
anybody.
fine, I just don't have it.
Smoke signal.
Okay, all right, so what else?
And bring the
I'll
smoke,
tell you that.
she'll take the heat.
Okay, so if we're all in agreement on that, we've determined the tasks that need to be done, we've determined the people that are going to do them. And our organizers of the committee are gonna see to it that we get it in an email.
Next meeting.
The last item is to determine our next meeting. Is it next Monday night?
What's the date?
29.
Is that gonna be
January
enough
29th.
time?
That's what I'm
I was
wondering.
just trying to think.
Oh,
I would suggest in 2 weeks' time,
Yep.
so that people have an opportunity to get together, have meetings, start doing some work.
I'm really excited that this is heading in this direction. We have interest, we have really good core groups on each topic, and I'm really excited to see what everybody brings back next time. I'm really excited to hear more about the building and more about the insurance, and I think if we apply ourselves to the tasks that we've signed up for, and we bring real things to the table, I think we're gonna have real success with this committee. I just wanna forewarn everybody, everything that you do from here on out, these are tasks. And you've got to remember that if you bring an item to this meeting, it needs to be the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed, this is fact, this is research, this is where it came from. The more solid the information that we have, the better the outcome of what we're doing. So just keep that in the back of your mind as you're doing these tasks, as you're finding the answers to your questions, write it down, document it, make sure that it's good, solid information. And I am really excited about moving forward with what we're doing. So 2 weeks from today, is that what we've decided is gonna be our,
February 5th. Yep. Yep.
question?
just sharing a little knowledge I know about warrants. Generally, those are supposed to be posted for public review 3 weeks prior to the meeting date, so,
Sangerville says 14 days, I believe.
okay. So just giving everybody a heads up, kind of what kind of timeline we're all looking at to
Yep,
get
if
these
it's going
done.
to be on this town meeting,
Yeah.
yes.
I would say that at this point, the goal of getting everything prepared for the town meeting is in pencil. Because there's such a massive amount of work, especially in the building needs. What might end up happening is that the warrant group designs an article that at least establishes that the town maintains ownership of the building until a future use is determined by the town citizens. And that might be as far as we, just lock in that we're hanging on to the building. And that'll give us time to really thoroughly gather the information.
Right.
And then a special town meeting could be had to determine the direction.
What is the typical attendance of the Sangerville annual town meeting?
Depends
A
on what
lot.
they're voting
Last
on.
meeting was
Actually, it's
108
pretty good.
people.
It's great.
The last one was over 100.
Exactly.
The
The firehouse is usually full.
Normally, but this will bring out a lot of people.
this meeting will be packed, the way it ought to be.
Especially if Patrick continues to do things with, mail, information papers to the residents.
We need to remember that as we go through our committee, the mail thing does work. People responded positively to that.
Did they?
It's
that's
got
good.
it does have a budget tag to it, and I don't know, we don't have a budget. So that could be a little stumbling block.
Do.
All right,
We've got a lot of
Okay, so
gumption behind us.
I move we adjourn this meeting.
second.
All right.